All right, The Last of Us, Season 3, Episode 5, Feel Her Love. So, we start this episode introducing the audience who does not know about Spores.
Yeah.
This is their first introduction into something us gamers have known for 12 years.
Yes, we have known. We've known about the spores.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect introduction to them. Like, well, obviously they haven't been in the show at all. So, like, this opening with just, like, everything this season with the stalkers and now the spores, like, the fact that things are changing, I really love. And I love how the humans are reacting to that. So I thought this opening was really solid and really scary and tragic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've gotten a little too comfortable. They think they've got it all figured out. They are in the war with the Seraphites, and they think they're the only threat that is posed to them at the moment because they just feel like they've cleared Seattle out and they've kind of trapped or locked down the areas where the infected are, and they don't really have anything more to worry about. And now we've got these thinking infected, and we've got something in the air.
Yeah.
And they're just finding out about this, right? Like, so in the game, spores have been around since basically the genesis of this. You know, within, I don't know how much time, but I would assume not very long. Months at most.
Yeah.
And they've had 25 years to adapt to that, and they all carry gas masks with them, and they're accustomed to it, and they understand its limitations. Right. With this, it being new to them, they're like, what does this mean? Like, can this get out into the air? Like everywhere? Is this the next stage of evolution?
Right.
So this adds a whole new kind of layer to this world for them that they're not prepared for. And I like that. I like that we are seeing them figuring it out in real time, because we don't get that in the game. We never get to see the first person who comes across spores. By the time we catch up to Joel, you know, we're 20 years later into this thing, and he's all the, wiser on this, and so is everyone in that world.
Right.
You know, so this is a cool perspective to have, because this would have been, I mean, they wouldn't be like they are here because these guys are so accustomed to this world, but I think back to the first people that came across spores, that breathed it in.
Oh God, yeah.
And are like, wait, what?
Like, we die now?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It's totally new now to everybody, which is great. Ellie is immune. I kind of was wondering, like, when we started and we saw that there was going to be the introduction of spores this season, I was like, is it going to act differently, like, with her? Just curious, but at least as far as we can tell right now, and I'm sure this is just the case, like, she's immune to that as well, because it does make sense that she would be.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if it was going to be a new threat for her to look out for or something.
Yeah.
But obviously it is a new threat for everybody else, which would include Dina and Jesse and Tommy and everyone, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This takes me back to the first couple episodes of the first season, where we get these kind of introductions into these new ideas, right? In the first episode, we go back to 1968, and the doctor is talking about global warming,
right?
And if that was to happen, we would be we'd be fucked. And then in episode 2, in Jakarta, we get the woman who comes in and kind of realizes, like, we're all fucked, like, bomb the city, right? And this is all new information to them, and them finding out. And we've kind of taken a break from that for a long time, up until the council meeting is sort of like this, where they're finding out about stalkers, and now. So I like these openings where new information is being given not only to the audience, but to the inhabitants of this world.
Well, yeah, because even with like the council meeting in Jackson, they're like, this is a one-off. Like, it possibly is just like one infected. Like, we don't know that that's a trend or anything.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, Dina and Ellie are seeing it for sure is like something that happens everywhere. And they really encounter some very scary stalkers in this episode. And, you know, with the spores, like, that's obviously Ellie finds out too, but just like this introduction with, I don't know their names, but like
Handaran,
and the lady that we see that meets Isaac previously.
Yeah.
She's like a head like leader now. And her talking to like one of her generals or whatever about like what happened.
Yeah.
And then of course like finding out like at the very end of their interaction that the guy that like Leon, the guy that they're like he was the best of ours or whatever, is this woman's son.
Yeah.
The general that's like reporting everything. That's so messed up.
Yeah, it's a good way to end the scene of her being like sorry about your son as she walks out, and then to get that payoff of when Ellie goes down in there later and she sees that kid that's kind of fused in with the wall and is breathing out the spores, and she sees his name tag is
like L whatever it was. Yeah.
So that's her son, which, man, he got enveloped fast.
Well, yeah, like what's messed up is that they're just like they're using them for their lungs. Mm-hmm. Like the fungus is like, because they're not like, they are definitely I don't know, they sort of react when they see her, but not like any of the other infected that are like wanting to run.
Oh no,
like,
they're still there.
Her. Like, yeah, they're just sitting there like being breathed like manually or whatever.
Yeah, they're still mentally there.
Yeah.
I know the other ones are too. That's why they're crying out and whatnot. But these have more emotions in their face.
Definitely do.
Right.
Yeah, it's
these
scary.
humans but they're pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Right, and they're kind of, I don't know, they're attacking them in a different way.
Yeah.
Right, as you had said, like the cordyceps infection goes for the brain and controls the body, and it takes over the host so that it can control its movements. And with this, it seems like this cordyceps actually attacks you in a different way and latches itself on and like puts you in the wall and then attacks your lungs and uses them as like a respirator, which is it's a different kind of attack, I guess, on the system. So
I hate it.
Yeah, very cool opening.
Yes.
I wonder if the name Leon is a nod to the Resident Evil franchise, since that is also a zombie.
That's what I thought of immediately
virus.
too.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to think of
Leon with zombies. Yeah.
All right. So then we go back to the theater, and Ellie has fixed the generator.
Yay.
That is a big moment in the game. I think she says it's like in the basement or something. In the game, it's more towards the roof. Doesn't matter at all. But the nerd in me was like, that's not where it's at. Ellie goes out, finds a stage after Dina's talking to her about triangulation, which is done with triangles, in case you didn't know. The protractor scene. There's a very cute scene. Now, this is once again, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about it because it'll just piss me off about how obvious it is that, you know, the two, like, Ellie romance episodes of this show, both in season 1 and season 2 now, are the lowest rated of both seasons. People are really showing their hand there. But moving on beyond that, I don't give a fuck. I love this show. People don't like it. They can, whatever. It's fine. But that little moment when she, like, walks away and they, like, look at each other.
Ellie! Like, she's gonna say something to her, like, she's gonna say, I love you, or whatever, but they don't. They just, like, smile at each other.
Very cute.
So cute. Yeah, their little chemistry is great.
Yeah, so I feel like if you're not buying into their chemistry, if you're not, like, really attaching yourselves to them as a couple, then I feel like this show is really not going to work for you. Because you know, like in season 1... it's all about building the relationship between Joel and Ellie.
Yes.
And now that Joel is gone, it's all about building the relationship between Ellie and Dina.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know that Pedro Pascal is an actor that a lot of people just love, and he's got all this charisma, and they kind of already came in wanting to love him, and so it was like a little bit easier. And this actress is someone kind of newer. We did just see her in a trailer or show or something. Well, we just saw her in something. We were like, it's Dina.
I think it was a trailer.
When we went to, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. She's in. I mean, obviously she's in the new Alien Romulus, right? So, right? Yeah. Okay, I was like, I'm not wrong on that. Yeah, I think she's very charming. I think together they're very charming. So it totally works for us. But I think you're absolutely right. Like if you don't feel their relationship, I could definitely understand why you'd be like, this season is lower than the previous one, because I mean, yeah, it's all about the relationships in the show.
If I was to compare it to the game in that way, I will say this is an area where I think the show has improved upon the source material a good amount for me. I like Dina and Ellie's relationship in the game. I buy it to some degree, but here it feels like a genuine romance.
Yeah.
Right? And that might just be because it's humans, and romance is harder to sell in a video game. But maybe not. I don't know what it is. I've always felt that way. I'm totally fine and into Dina and Ellie's relationship in the game.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
But it does happen a little too quick. And listening to people say that, who are fans of the game, that they feel like this relationship feels rushed, but they're game fans and they're like, this is a critique towards the show. Oh my God, I have no idea what these people are talking about. This is so much more fleshed out. They actually wait to have their sex scene all the way up until they get into Seattle, and it feels so much more organic and earned.
I agree. I feel like this show is doing a little bit. I think we're just getting more time with them, a little bit more moments with them to build up the relationship. Because
in the video game, you have to remember, like, it's Ellie and Dina in the library. This sounds like I'm talking about like my guess at the end of Clue.
Literally.
Anyway,
with the
candlestick, with the vibrator. No, they're down there. They have their sex. Then freaking Joel gets killed. Ellie's really pissed off. So her and Dina get on horseback. They ride across to Seattle, and then boom, they're in Seattle. And then while they're there, there's a lot of relationship drama between them when they're in Seattle.
Yes.
The show makes it much, much more positive. Like, there's so much fighting between them when they're in the game.
Yeah.
Like, when she finds out she's pregnant, stuff like that.
Right.
That does not go well in the game at all. In this, it's like, I'm a dad. Which plays out so much more believably because in the show, we not only are building their relationship previous to the attack, but then Ellie is in the hospital for 3 months.
Yeah.
And we know she's kind of like by her side and all of that stuff. So there's this attachment she forms with Ellie being in the hospital, and they feel like both of their like father figures were killed. And so they bond through that, trauma bond through that. Then there's like the planning, and then they make their way across Seattle, and that is shown better in here. In the game, it's kind of like we're just kind of there, and in here we get to see them across terrain, and that shows a good passage of time. Because in the game, when Jesse shows up, he's like, I've been doing weeks of like 18-hour days, like getting here as fast as I could. And it's like, it's very clear, and as you would expect, it takes a long time to get from Jackson to Seattle, like a month. I don't even know how long it would take. It would take weeks and weeks for sure.
Yeah.
So they have all that time to build their relationship, was shown much better in here. We get nights in them with like the tent and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then to have their first like romantic scene happen in Seattle makes this way more fleshed out. The fact that I actually saw someone say that when I was watching a reaction video who's a gamer, and it's like, I don't know, man, I just feel like their relationship feels very rushed in the show.
That's very interesting.
I'm
reaction.
like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah.
about? Like, did you feel that way in the game? And you feel like it's still not enough here? Because like, thinking of the shit I've watched and how fast people are romantic in movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and how fast people buy that.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, because I feel like we've been building their relationship for longer than the length of most films. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of films, you can have a relationship bloom in 5 minutes.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally.
That people are like, I'm fully in.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. For me, that's definitely not how I feel about their relationship at all. I think it's very well constructed, like everything you said. Like it just builds very organically. So, but whatever. I mean, it's.
You think it's that they just don't buy their chemistry, and that's what's making them feel that way? Yeah, that's the only thing I can imagine.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like, if you're not kind of buying into their dynamic.
Yeah.
But it works for us really well. So, yeah.
So then Ellie moves on to the stage. She finds this whole, like, setup for a rock band, and sits down. She picks up the guitar, and she plucks out a few chords and sings one passage from the song Future Days, which, to anyone who hasn't played the games, this song doesn't mean anything yet. This means a lot to gamers, and it means a lot to, like, we are doing that, right? So there was a lot of speculation once upon a time, and I already knew they were going to say fuck it, because I heard them say literally as much when they were talking about the fact that this song had not existed in 2003. And Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin were like, yeah, we thought about it for a while, and then we just decided we didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because the lyrics just match up too well.
Right. Which is fine. I think it's like, guys, just, it's okay. It doesn't need to be, like, it's just alternate reality, right? Just pretend like whatever.
I literally
it doesn't matter. Less. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I couldn't care less if I tried.
Wasn't realistically released or whatever.
Yeah.
Super important song. She sings like the first line or the first like 2 words or something, and then you're like, oh, and then she stops. Like everything there. Like her expression when she's like, you think she's gonna sing the song, and then you know that she's thinking about Joel and she's thinking about how he was killed, and it's just like she's thinking about that, puts the guitar away, and then Dina walks in and says like, I triangulated them, and she's like, good, like let's go. Just like the determination on her face there. Oh man.
So yeah, this is a scene that really only makes sense. I think a smart audience member who knows nothing about the game could probably infer for themselves that song has something to do with Joel, but they wouldn't know for sure, right? Like, Joel has not sang this song yet. We did name one of the episodes, the first episode of the season, Future Days. The episode ends with the literal Pearl Jam song Future Days. But as I said, it's not attached to him yet, so I do wonder, non-game fans, what they thought of that moment, if they just thought she was just playing a song and reflecting, or I can only assume they thought that she was thinking about Joel. But that will lead into the next episode, where when he wakes her up, which the whole next episode is going to be a flashback episode.
Yeah.
We'll get there, but I think that is going to be, like, he's going to take her for a guitar lesson, or like, I always said I was going to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's going to pull up the guitar, and he's going to be like, don't make fun of me, and we're going to see Pedro Pascal sing Future Days, which is going to then tie it together for the audience that doesn't know, oh, this is why Ellie was on stage. I think that's going to be like a bookmarked moment to come back to in the next episode, to where they're like, oh, this is why she's playing that song.
Yeah.
Now in the game, when they're in the guitar store, she starts playing that song, and Dina walks in and interrupts her, and that's why she stops and then does the Take On Me by Aha. So this scene is kind of moved around. But I think it's a nice little moment. I thought for sure we were going to get a flashback there in that moment, but I should have figured out, much like last season, with the Left Behind episode, which was episode 7 of season 1, that we were going to get a full flashback episode.
Yeah. It's smart to do it like that.
100%.
Definitely really smart. It's going to give us a lot of time with Joel and Ellie, and I'm very excited for it. I think a lot of people are going to be really excited for it. I won't be surprised if it's like one of the higher rated episodes of the season, obviously, because everyone misses Joel. Yeah. I love that scene. I think it's great. I think Bella's performance there is wonderful. Like, even if you don't know what the song, like what it means or anything, I think it's very clear from like the facial expression that Joel is what's coming to mind. And then they head out, and they come across a bunch of scars.
Dina goes with her.
Yes, which like they said last episode, like she's gonna go with her.
Yeah.
So she does go with her.
Big change from the game.
Yeah, they come across a bunch of scars under a like mural of the prophet saying like "feel her love," and somebody spray painted like "feel this, bitch."
Yeah.
And then there's just a bunch of dead scars.
Yeah.
And both Dina and Ellie have a reaction to it, and Ellie kind of freaks out and is like, you shouldn't be here, like you need to go home.
Yeah.
And then we get to hear Dina talk about her first kill.
Yeah.
How she lived in San Diego, or was it San Diego?
I forget where she said, but
she lives somewhere in California.
I can say that she has a backstory that I am unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
If this is set anywhere in the game, I completely forget it. I'm pretty sure I'm almost 99.9. I'm 100% basically positive here that we do not know Dina's backstory like this. I'll say 99 because I don't know. It's a big game. There's a lot of shit said. I haven't played it in a long time. Maybe when they're in the house in the end.
Maybe she says it, but this was new to me as well. But she tells that how she was 8 years old and lived with her mom and sister, and she always wanted to go outside, and her mom would never let her, but one day she just runs outside anyway with a gun, and then while she's outside, of course, a raider comes and is attacking and killing her mom and sister, and so the first person she kills is this raider. And that story is really important because then she tells Ellie, like, if I hadn't killed him then, I would have, like, hunted for him forever.
Right.
Like, I literally would never have stopped. Like, we're gonna go do this. And it's great because, that's really important for Ellie to, like, because she even says, like, it doesn't matter what he did to them. Like, Dina says that to Ellie.
Yeah.
Like, it literally doesn't matter. Like, they deserve to die now. Like, Abby's gonna die.
But that's the cycle of revenge.
It is the cycle of revenge. I don't think that they're right in doing this, but I think that it makes them very compatible, and it really shows how much support Dina has for Ellie. And also, as we said, like, Dina cared a lot about Joel, too. He was very much a surrogate father, to her and to, like, many people. Like, he's a really important person in Jackson.
This is why it's a very important addition to the show that they make the Dina relationship with Joel so strong.
Very important. So, and, Ellie, because she tells her, like, I'll go back if you want me to go back. Like, whatever you want right now, I'll do it. Yep. And Ellie's like, let's go. Like, they go together. So, yeah.
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 Yeah, so, definitely a good scene there, finding out more about Dina.
Yeah, really cool.
What compels her to go. The reason that I think it's smart to bring Dina along, because once again, as always, the show, when it comes down to the big moments, always does things pretty much verbatim, right? The big moments are always going to remain the same. It's all the in-between stuff that they tool around with, that they finagle, that they, change, and it works so well for television. It works so well for this story. So, in the game, Ellie goes out by herself. Dina just stays behind. She runs into Jesse while she's out. Much different than in this show. She literally just, like, jumps off of something. Somebody grabs her from behind and is, like, holding her mouth, and she's, like, trying to fight back, and then he's like, shh. And then she, like, turns around and finds out it's Jesse. This obviously is a much different way that Jesse enters, but it still remains the same. It still remains that Jesse and Dina end up back in the theater, and Ellie goes out to find Nora in the hospital by herself to have their big showdown. So the pieces are moving differently, but the result is the same, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
So I like this addition here because it adds stress and stakes to the scene, because if you're the audience who doesn't know anything about the games, you're sitting there thinking, okay, they're not killing Ellie.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone else is expendable at this point. I feel like Dina could die at any moment. I feel like Jesse could die at any moment. I could feel so when Dina goes with her, it adds drama, emotional stakes, and it has someone for Ellie to talk to. We get to know more about Dina. We get to see her injured, how it affects Ellie when she's taken back by Jesse and all of that stuff. It adds to the drama. It adds to the weight of things.
Yeah.
So very smart choice here to do it, because once again we still end in the same exact place. Everything's the same, and as I had said previously, have faith. Anybody who thought that Tommy and Jesse weren't going to end up in Seattle, I don't know why you would think that. As we had talked about previously, 100,000% they were coming to Seattle, and here we are. Jesse and Tommy are in Seattle, so you all can calm down. So, little fun moment. I always love seeing stupid little game moments, but there's a few of them in here, and it's joyous. It's always joyous. It's just little nods, little cute nods. So there's the spotlight scene when they're hiding from the spotlight behind the car, and then the spotlight's going, and they like run, and the spotlight moves, and then they run. The most video game shit of all time. Also later when she goes to the hospital, she's hiding in the tall grass and making her way, and the dog's hunting her in the grass. I mean, that's iconic Last of Us 2 game stuff. So fantastic shit there. And then there's a cute line by Dina and Ellie here where they get into this building, which this is a totally new building. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It kind of reminds me of the building that Abby makes her way into on day one, with like all the storage pallets and stuff around her. It's not that, so I don't really know what this is, but I'm assuming that they know of the stalkers, and maybe they've locked that building down because they're like, you know, they don't patrol that area. Yeah. And it's like, oh, there's different kinds of infected in there. Let's lock that area down.
Yeah. I mean, I can only assume because they have to know what's going on in there. Yeah. I don't know what this building is either, but very scary. The stalkers in there
before we move on, I just want to say the line really quick when Ellie's looking in. It's fine. She's like, what does it look like, or what's in there, or whatever, and she's like, it looks haunted and empty, and Dina says
just like us. Yeah, that was really funny.
It's a funny line, but it's also
very true.
Very, very, very telling line.
Very true.
They're both super haunted and empty inside right now, and I love that. I think that's a fantastic line that's played as a joke, but I'm like, damn, that's actually heavy as fuck.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, it is. And Dina also, I mean, she definitely has like a lot of good humor in general. Both of them can, for sure, but like when she tells Ellie that she's like crazy because she's always like drawing her gun and shooting things and stuff, I thought that was really funny.
And this is actually when then we have the very cute line of this is why I love you.
Yes, and then and then
she's like, tries to say something back, and she's like, oh, I know.
Yeah, super cute. Of course. And then, when they go in there and see all the stalkers and stuff, like at first they think it's just one, and then they look up and they see it's three, and then there's even more behind them. Yeah. And it's scary. It's really scary.
As soon as I saw they were surrounded, I was like, this is where Jesse comes in.
Yeah. I mean, they would have been totally screwed otherwise, because Dina goes into this, like, little caged, like area, but they start ripping back like
They're
you know,
dead
the
if Jesse
fence and
doesn't
stuff,
show up.
and Ellie's getting, you know, bit all over the place, honestly.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of funny to me that Jesse's like, "Did you get bit?" And I'm like, "Did you not see her getting like literally bit by everything?"
He's too busy aiming, and it's super dark in there, and I buy
it's
it.
fine. It's fine. But this is also, again, like, Ellie, yes, she won't be infected by getting bit, but she could be ripped apart and killed in
100%.
other ways. So it's still
you're not immune
dangerous.
from being torn apart.
Very glad that he showed up there. Love it. I'm very excited for everything, you know, with him. I think he's a great character in general. And they leave that area and run into the park because they're being chased by the wolves. And the wolves are like, "We don't go in there."
So there's a little quick moment between Jesse and them before they run out, kind of like, how'd you get here? You know, who are you here alone? He's like, "No, I'm here with Tommy." And they're like, "Oh, they sent you. I can't believe they sent you after us." And they're like, "They didn't. We snuck out after they told us we couldn't." So that's an interesting little piece here, because I thought they would have sent them, because I thought we were just flipping things. So in the game, Tommy runs out, right, and is the first person gone. And then Maria asks Ellie and Dina to go after him, and then Jesse follows them.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like they were sanctioned by Maria to go out and to find Tommy and to bring him back. But in this version, they all sneak out.
All of them are like...
So they all completely ignore the town's wishes.
Yes.
Right, everybody voted. And we can only assume that Tommy and Jesse were 2 of the 3 votes.
Of course.
To leave. Maria, I don't know. I don't know if she voted that way, honestly.
I don't either. I think I'm sort of leaning that she did, but only because I don't know any of the other people.
Right.
So I'm like, well, it has to be the 3 people we know.
You would just think that by the statistics alone, one of the people we don't know would have voted. It's
totally possible.
And one of the 3 that we know wouldn't have.
It's totally possible. But yeah, that is good to know.
Because Maria doesn't want to lose her friggin' husband after losing her, brother-in-law.
I know. But at the same, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like, I'm sure we will get, like...
I don't think we'll ever find out. But we could.
I don't know that we'll ever find out, like, who voted. But, I mean, like, like, later on, obviously, returning to Jackson and stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. And then they're in that park, and the scars are out, and they're whistling and doing all this stuff, and that's when they witness this guy getting hung and gutted, which is good because earlier in the episode, Dina was like, or Ellie was like, "Well, how do you know that Nora's at this part of the hospital or whatever?" And she's like, "They don't shut up on the, like, walkie-talkies." Right. And you know, Ellie comments about how stupid that is to be in a war, but then they kind of put together, like, well, like, Dina literally mentions the Amish, which is good, and just saying, like, these people, like, I don't think they use technology, essentially. So they
which
do
is
put
for
that
the audience
together.
And for them,
yes,
which is great.
But now they actually get to see them, because all they've come across so far of these people are dead bodies of them.
Yeah, and they feel sorry for them.
And they feel sorry, but now they're seeing kind of like the other side of like how like sycophantic they are, and also scary. You know.
Oh my God,
terrifying. So and then it's at this point where Dina gets shot in the leg, and Ellie tells Jesse to take Dina back to the theater. She'll meet them there. Yeah. And she goes off, and she does find the hospital and decides to go in on her own.
So this scene plays out like perfectly in a way that feels super like the game. The torches and all of that, and them looking for her in the bushes. The only thing we're missing here, which they kind of do it but they don't, is the iconic shot of Ellie hiding behind the tree as the scars are looking for her. I was really hoping to see that. Now, she does hide behind a tree. It's just that she hides behind and inside of a tree. Yeah. And it's shown here, which I think is great to illustrate that, a lot of people see Ellie's size as her disadvantage. Yeah. But she really uses her size to her advantage multiple times, because her enemies, they underestimate her because of her size. Oh, yeah. Like, she hides in the tree, someone like Joel wouldn't be able to hide in the tree. He's too fucking big.
Right.
Right? She sneaks into the hospital by crawling through this little hole where he's like, oh, it must be a critter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it couldn't be somebody that's a threat. Right? Like, it's got to just be a little animal. It's probably like a fox or like a rabbit or something small. And it's like, oh, it's much worse than that. Yeah. So I love that we see that. And I do love to see the disemboweling hanging scene that Ellie comes across. And yeah, you're right. It's just, it adds this whole new layer to like, oh, they're shitheads too. They're terrible too.
Yes.
I was feeling so sorry for them as I saw them executed. I saw their people murdered under their, you know, their painting.
That's saying like feel her love.
Yeah, feel this bitch. Like, yeah, they seem like they're peaceful.
Yeah, you're thinking like, oh, so
that they're attacking a peaceful people.
Right.
Right, and it's like it vilifies the wolves.
Yes.
And it's confirmation bias.
Yes.
She wants to hate the wolves, and she's seeing all these monstrous acts, and it's like, well, look, see, they are monsters.
Yes.
And then she finally runs into the scars, and she's looking like, oh, never mind.
Right.
These people are monsters, and I need to stay the fuck away from them. They're as much of a threat to me as the wolves are.
Yeah.
So really cool to see that. Really cool to see that whole scene, and then that, of course, is going. I would say that's night 2, which I can't remember when Abby has the same fate that's about to happen to her, but that's either night. I think that's night 1. I think it's.
Well, it'll be good, yeah, for in the future. We'll see with Abby, obviously.
Right, sure. We're not seeing Abby for sure until the last like 5 minutes of this season.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
So
she moves into the hospital.
Yeah, she moves into the hospital. She finds Nora.
Yep.
It's like shot for shot of everything that happens in the game, which is wonderful. I mean, like line for line, even.
Yeah.
Really great moment, just with Ellie confronting her, and then Nora doing her whole like, oh, I still hear his screams, and nobody should have to see that. And then like, you think that she's being empathetic or something, but then she's like, that little bitch got what was coming to him. Yeah. Great stuff. And then obviously Ellie and her running and making their way down to basement 2, or to the basement, which is where all the spores are.
Right.
And obviously we get these, we kind of already talked about it, but the shots of the infected that are being used to breathe and everything, all that's really, really cool looking, very scary.
Yeah.
Ellie just kind of walking through it like, what is this shit? Like,
yeah, sure.
And then, you hear Nora coughing, and we get the very iconic scene in like the red lighting where Ellie confronts her and is trying to get her to tell her where Abby is,
Yeah.
And
this is all exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
The only thing that's different here, of course, is that in the game, Ellie takes Nora kind of hostage. She has the floor below her, which is filled with spores. Nora's like, no, don't do it. And they like fall back into that room together, which infects Nora. And she thinks like, you fucked us both, which is, it plays out pretty similarly.
Yeah,
obviously the reason that this is different here is because Ellie doesn't know anything about the spores.
Yeah.
Right? And the wolves are just learning about them. It's on a need-to-know basis, right? So, like, only specific soldiers in there know about it, Nora seeming to be one of them.
Yeah.
She ultimately makes her way down there, and I think she realizes in that moment when she sees what level they're on in the elevator, which she doesn't get into the elevator shaft in an attempt to go down into the basement. Obviously, the elevator crashes, it falls, and it's like she really has no choice. It's just sit there and get shot and then let Ellie get away, or succumb to my fate, which I'm dying no matter what. And she has to make that decision of like, oh shit, okay, I have to go in there. And then you hear the soldiers run off because they're like, oh my god, the doors are open, seal this area off. Right, so they realize in that moment that those doors are open, that they can get infected, that the spores can spread. Ellie is none the wiser in this moment because she knows nothing about spores, and she jumps down there. And if it was literally any single other person, Dina, Jesse, Tommy, pursuing Nora, they'd be dead too, because none of them know what the hell this is.
Yeah.
And Ellie's going to have to go back and tell them about this. So you're going to have that scene later on, which is going to be a bit different. But this does play out differently because it has to.
Yeah.
Because Spores didn't exist. And I think that Nora has to make her choice in that moment, knowing she's going to die. But she lures Ellie down there so that she can kill her too. That's when we see Leon and whatnot, and then the confrontation where she's beating her. Now she doesn't give up the info, right? And she's just beating her leg to try to get it out of her. Very Joel of her. In the game, it looks like she's beating her in the head from what we can tell, and I think she just kills her outright. But she does like torture her a bit. And then we cut to. It's interesting here. So we get the moment where she's like, you know, he killed all these people, and he also killed a doctor who was Abby's father. You know, you were supposed to be the cure, because she says when she sees her breathing it in, she's like, oh my god, like you're her, you exist, like this is real, and you know, she has that moment. And then we get the confirmation for the people who haven't watched or haven't played the video game and everything, of like, she says all that stuff, and then Ellie just looks at her and says, I know.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know yet that she knows. We kind of figure why she's mad at Joel has got to be something like that. But we're going to see all that take place in the next episode.
Yes.
I think we're going to see in the next episode, I think it will start with Joel and Ellie like maybe a year or two before the events of this, at least, because I think it's Ellie's like 16th birthday, maybe, for the museum. 17, I can't remember what birthday it is. 16, 17. Anyway, so I think it'll be him teaching her how to play guitar. Then it will be them going to the museum and having all of that, and then the episode will eventually like get to her being like, I'm not going back to Jackson unless you tell me the truth.
Yeah.
And he tells her the truth, and then that's where we get the line from the trailer, you swore.
Yeah. And
then it kind of cuts back to Ellie, and she leaves the hospital and goes back to the theater, and that'll be like the end of that episode. Yeah.
I think that's likely how it will go.
Yeah. The next episode will be the hardest episode for me, for sure. It's the episode I wanted. I'm so glad, because like we looked, and when Joel like walked in and was like, hey kiddo, and all that, I pulled up the remote and was like, oh, there's 10 minutes left, which I don't know why I didn't think of this in the moment. There's the trailer for the next episode, and then the like making of, which is like 6, 7, 8 minutes long. I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna do the museum thing here. Thank God I was wrong.
Yeah,
thank God the whole next episode is gonna be the museum. It's gonna be him teaching her how to play guitar, probably him singing, and then her finding out about what he did. The whole next episode is gonna be Joel and Ellie flashback.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense. And then episode 7 will be day 3. It will end in the fight in the theater. And then that'll be the end of the season. And then I think that season 3 will probably be Abby's, story of day 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get a season 4 or not, doing the whole like I can't let it go story. Could they finish all of this in the next season? It depends. I feel like they could do 2 more seasons after this of like Abby's story is all of next season, culminating to the fight, and then the like let it go, and then they leave, and then the next season is like them in the farmhouse, and then Ellie can't let it go and she goes to the beach.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the whole season. I don't know. Because there's like Abby's only going to need like 3 or 4 episodes. So they could probably do 10 episodes, eight or maybe 9 episodes in the next season and just be done with this story.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll ever... I don't know how much more we're going to get. The only reason I even want more seasons is to give them more time to make the next game.
Right.
So that we can get more seasons that follow the game. And I would love for Craig Mazin to help write the games. But we had talked about how, would it be wild to see them go beyond the source material and for the game to kind of follow this show.
Yeah, it would be crazy. That would be very unusual to happen. Like, you would never expect that.
But with Druckmann involved...
Right, if they're already going to be working on the game.
He wouldn't let the story change so much that it's like, no, we're going to do something completely different for the games. That just wouldn't work. So I feel like if they have a story in mind... I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about there ever being a game 3, because this show is getting a lot of negativity currently. That does not bode well for the desire for another game and show. It doesn't push HBO and Naughty Dog to want to do it as much. And since they're focusing on Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, right now, and they're putting all of their efforts into that, and that's not going to be out for at least another 2 years. I don't know, man. I don't know if we'll ever see it. But that doesn't mean the show can't end. Yeah. And then if the game gets made and it's years in the future, that the show doesn't come back for a revival and to adapt that years from now. So we'll see. Shout out to the actress who plays Nora. She is the actress who is playing the lead character in Intergalactic. So it's cool to have her in the Naughty Dog family.
That is cool.
So for those two things. Anyways, that's that, I guess. Another wonderful episode for us.
Yes.
How will this be received? I feel like they'll be like, oh, there's not really much that happens here.
Yeah, I kind of feel like people are going to not be big on this episode, because I think they'll be like, yeah, not a lot happened, but I feel like a ton happens with the Spores alone, like that discovery, but we'll see.
I mean, I think a lot happens.
A lot more happens than just that, of course, but
I love it so much. I don't care.
I do too.
I care because I want the show to be loved and to get no worries from HBO trying to be behind the scenes. I think at this point they're probably all in. And they're just just finish it however you want. Fuck it. The ratings are still coming in. People can hate it all they want, but as long as I don't know. It's so weird because I thought that Joel's death would be the thing that got bombed. And then from there, all the people who were mad about that, they would just be bombing that episode. And then the rest of the episodes, the people who stuck around would be happy. And it's been the exact opposite. It's the fucking Joel death episode that's beloved. It's
very weird.
And all the shit since has been bombed to hell.
Very unexpected.
So unexpected. So weird.
Yeah.
People are fucking bizarre to me. But we love it.
Yes.
And we hope that you love it too. Yes. I'm sure we'll get a couple comments like we always do of this show's boring. I'm so out.
Yeah.
Okay. Then leave.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't have to watch it.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's that. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Feel her love.
Yeah.
Feel this bitch.
It's brutal.
Bye, guys.
Bye.